Hey, what is up, guys? It's your boy David here. Today I'd like to talk about everything about driving in Costa Rica and renting a car. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe. And if you would like to see more videos about Costa Rica and traveling in general. So yeah, let's get started. I spent 5 weeks in Costa Rica and I rented a car for the entire time. And now I'd like to share my experience that how easy it was to rent a car, the conditions of the road, parking, filling up gas, and the situation with the police over there. So there's gonna be lots of information in this video, so make sure to watch it till the end. So first, let's start if you should rent or you should not rent a car in Costa Rica. So in favor of renting a car, obviously you're gonna be a lot more flexible. It's gonna be a lot easier to get to places, and yeah, in general, just the freedom that the car provides you. And in contra of renting a car, obviously it's renting a car. It's very expensive in Costa Rica. Like taking the bus, it's a way cheaper option to get around in the country. And if you're planning just to stay there for a short amount of time in Costa Rica, then it could be a better option. And if you're just planning to only visit very few places, then it might be better than renting a car, which could be very expensive in Costa Rica. Okay, so after when you decided that you want to rent a car, then there's the question that do you need an SUV or you can get away with a sedan. I rented an SUV, but I think that in most of the situation you can get away with just a sedan. Sometimes it depends how big is the price difference between a SUV and a mini SUV and the sedan. But usually when I was looking it was the price was very close. The only situation when you would need an SUV, that would be probably down there in Nicoya Peninsula and the Osa Peninsula, when it's the conditions of the road over there, it's not very good. There's lots of potholes, and with an SUV you can navigate those better, and it's more comfortable and just easier to get around on those roads. But if you're driving carefully and more slower, I wouldn't see an issue why you would not be able to drive over there. Also, if you got an SUV, you're more flexible to take smaller roads and do some off-roading if you would like. So it's could be more fun to drive an SUV in Costa Rica than a sedan, but all necessary means you can get away just getting a sedan if you on the budget and would like to save some money on your car rental. And also probably it would consume a lot less gas as well. With the sedan, it could be an issue if you would like to drive down to Drake Bay, and to get there you would need to cross some rivers, and those rivers in the raining season could be very big. So in some cases you would not be able to cross with a sedan, or sometimes not even an SUV. So before you go there, you should check if the conditions are okay to cross those rivers. So even if it's the rivers are too big, you have another option to get there by boat to Drake Bay. There's a place close to Manuel Antonio where you can take a boat to Drake Bay, so you don't need to drive there, and you can leave your car in Manuel Antonio or close to Manuel Antonio where you're taking a boat, and after when you finish in Drake Bay you just return to there. Because if you have enough time in your hands, you probably don't want to miss Drake Bay, because it's such a wonderful place, especially if you're into diving. as well. And from Drake Bay, you can visit one of the most famous national park in Costa Rica, the Corcovado National Park. So you definitely don't want to miss that. So just more information about renting. So usually when you look up the car rental prices in Costa Rica, sometimes it could be looking very cheap on some of the sites, but the most of the time those prices not include third-party liability insurance, which is very expensive in Costa Rica. So it's very well can happen that, for example, for a week of rental, you pay $200 for the car rental, and you need to pay $500 or $600 just for the insurance. So when you checking the price for car rental online, you should always check if the price includes third-party liability as well, because the most of the time when you go to the rental place, you're gonna get charged $600 or $700 on top of the price that you were quoted online. So you need to be aware of that. So in my case, I rented an automatic mini SUV from Enterprise, and the price that I was quoted for in the email, it was that was already including the third-party liability as well. So when I got there to the rental place, the price was exactly that I was quoted for, so there were no surprises. And even a guy told me in the office that I can get a free upgrade if I want it. So like instead of a mini SUV, I got a full-size big SUV, which made me very happy. So maybe you're gonna be able to get that as well. Maybe if some of you got lucky, you can get that as well. So I rented the car for 5 weeks. That's cost me $1,900, which is very expensive, even that I'm 25. Because if you below 25, it's gonna be even more expensive because the insurance. So now that we covered the rental part, we can go to the next part, which is driving in general in Costa Rica. Driving in San Jose, in the capital city of Costa Rica, it's very, very draining. You need to keep a lot of attention on the road, especially if you're driving for the first time in Latin countries, and because there's a lot of bikers on the road, and sometimes the drivers are very reckless as well. So, and also in the city there's lots of steep roads, like lots of roads like in San Francisco, like very, very steep roads, and sometimes that's also makes it harder to drive as well. And especially if you're driving a car with a stick. And like there's a highway in San Jose which also can get jammed, especially in rush hours. So you can expect that if you wanna go somewhere in those hours, that you're gonna stuck in traffic for at least 1 hour extra. And also on the highway can be very chaotic as well, because some of the drivers, they just like switching lanes in like every minute or so, which is dangerous. And also lots of bikers on the highway as well. And it was one time when I've seen like cyclists on a highway, which was crazy. Like yeah, absolutely crazy. And also sometimes just the lanes are suddenly disappearing without like a very short notice, like in 20 meter or something. And when you realize too late, it's just hard to switch back to lane. And yeah, it just makes things very, very difficult sometimes. And also there's road work on the highway, which is also you see like in a very short notice. And but some part the lanes are not painted, so you don't even know how many lanes are there. So there's like 2 big lanes, there's 3 smaller lanes, or just even 1 big lane, or you don't know that. It's interesting. But like once you get out from San Jose, I would say the traffic and the driving is much more relaxed. But in Costa Rica, the roads are very windy and very narrow. So sometimes it just that makes it more difficult to drive, because if you like going up in a steep road, you can get very fast. I mean, not very fast, you're gonna be driving slow. And also if a car in front of you that is very slow, it just makes it very hard to take over that car because the windy steep roads. And also because the trucks and the big trucks are using the same road most of the times as the other cars, they can cause big jams on the road because they very long. And yeah, sometimes it's just hard to take over them. And the traffic behind them builds up very fast, very quickly. So like even that the distances are not huge in Costa Rica, sometimes you're gonna spend hours on the road to get from one place to another. Okay, so there's one more thing about the navigation. So the locals, for navigating, mostly they use Waze, as they told me. But the thing with Waze, that you can only use if you are online. But also if you would like to save some data, or you might not even have data, or you drive some places where there's no service, in my experience, you can very well use Google Maps for navigating. As yeah, I used Google Maps for the entire time, and I had no issues with that. Like I heard that some people said that sometimes Google Maps take you to roads where are like very small, very bumpy roads, or sometimes they Google Maps take you to roads where there's not even a road, or there's not a road anymore, and stuff like that. I think I already only experienced once that, but it was no issue. I just like had to go down another block and take a different road, so it was no big deal. And with Google Maps, you can download the offline maps, and you can use that for navigation as well. So I would say it's still a lot easier just to use Google Maps. Some places at the highway, there's tolls, so you need to pay toll fees, which is not very expensive. It's around like 200-300 colones, but you need to make sure that you always have small bills or change with you, because they don't accept card. You need to pay in cash. So the next topic, the conditions of the road. So generally the roads are in good condition in Costa Rica, especially in San Jose. It's yeah, it's good, apart from the couple of issues on the highway that I mentioned. And throughout the whole country, the roads are mostly in good condition, except if you get onto some very small roads or things like that. But yeah, apart from that, and there's more issues once you get down to the Nicoya Peninsula. Over there, sometimes you really feel like you are on a roller coaster. that it's lots of up and downs. It's very, very bumpy road, and there's on lots of the places there's not even asphalt roads. And yeah, sometimes that you need to cross small rivers, or there's like lots of bridge that is just like a one way, not a one way bridge, but it's just only one car can pass the bridge at the same time. It's a bit more difficult to drive there. I mean, it's not so difficult. It just you need to drive a lot slower over there. And in the Osa Peninsula, there's also the same thing. It's very, very bumpy. Sometimes there's no asphalt, but hopefully they working on that to improve the conditions of the roads over there as well. Maybe once you get there, it's gonna be all fun and good roads. But apart from those two places, the Nicoya and the Osa Peninsula, I would say the roads are generally good. And also on the east side, in the Caribbean side, between Tortuguero and Puerto Viejo, there's a big road where when I was there, it was a lot of road work throughout almost the entire road. And because of that, sometimes a lot of traffic builds up, and it's very, very slow. Sometimes I was able to drive with only like 40 or 50 kilometers per hour, sometimes even less. So yeah, there's places when like the roadworks slow you down. Okay, so the next topic is parking in Costa Rica. So I would say it's fairly easy to park in Costa Rica, even if you have a big car, because there's lots of parking places everywhere. And if you go there in the rainy season, when it's not that busy, I would say it's most of the time you can find a parking place very easily. But if you would go there like in December, when it's the busiest, probably it would be more difficult to find parking because of the tourists. And also, almost all the hostels where I stayed, they had parking, so that was good as well. So I actually never had a problem that like I had to park far, or like really had to look for parking. It can happen sometimes if you like want to park in a city center somewhere, or in a bigger town somewhere in the center. But generally I would say it's easy to find parking places. Also, there's some place where when you park, there's a guy that's on the street that looks after the car, and you need to pay him like 2,000 colones or something, and for that money he's gonna look after the car. That's like not mandatory to pay that, but probably if you not pay, then they like make something to your car. And you just like don't want to have that, because it's just 2,000 colones. You better off if you just pay that. Okay, so the next topic is filling up gas and gas prices in Costa Rica. So when I was there, 1 liter of gas, it was around 1,000 colones, which is not cheap if you compare to the prices to the US and even to Europe. But it is what it is. And I drove 3,200 kilometers there, so it actually adds up quite fast, the gas money. And just filling up gas in Costa Rica, it's very easy. You just park at the pump, and there's somebody over there that's gonna fill up your car, and you can just pay by card with the terminal, so you don't even need to get out from your car. It's very easy. And yeah, I experienced that at every gas station, so it's very easy to fill up gas in Costa Rica. So the next topic is the police in Costa Rica. So I never had any encounter with the police during my stay in Costa Rica and while I was driving, and I never see them on the side of the road stopping cars or anything like that, or like police checkpoints. And yeah, I was there for 5 weeks and I drove 3,200 kilometers and I was like all over the country. So I would say that's like not very typical that they like stopping cars or things like that. And also there's not really like traffic facts or speed meters or anything like that. So like, but I would not encourage you to speed, even though, because I heard that when it's the high season and there's more tourists there, then yeah, police, they looking into more to drivers that are speeding. So, but apart from that, it's just yeah, the police, it's very relaxed in Costa Rica, so you should not worry about the police when you drive there. So that would be it for this video. If you liked, please hit the thumbs up. It helps out the channel tremendously. Subscribe to the channel, and if you would like to see more videos about Costa Rica and traveling in general, and see you guys in the next one. Peace.